Welcome to the Trading Lounge. I would love to share with you the trade I made today on my journey to 100K, where I try to take a small account to $100,000 as fast as I can, which has not been very fast, as a relatively new, dare I say, rookie day trader. Today, we are green. The market's been hot. I decided to maybe take some action early and try to get aggressive, and ended up being green, a whopping $13.94. But some good learning lessons. I liked most of my entries. I liked most of my exits. Like, not all bad things here. And really, we're losing a lot less, which is good. So let's get right into it. I had to make a change to my setup today because we'll get into that. We'll get into that. So let me flip on the camera. Seems to be, got to make sure we flip that bad boy on. There we go. And I think I'm ready. Yeah. All right. So the first trade that I made today was on. Let's just double check. Yeah. So here's the stocks I traded: EFOI, ELAB, IPW, and MYSE. And we're up, $13.94. And the first trade that I made, let me just get the time right here, was on ELAB. ELAB came up on the scanner, and this is, I'm just making sure everything's working. This is the scanner that I have been using, Charts Watcher. All these stocks today came up on the scanner in one way or another. If you're new here, this is the small cap gainers scanner, and then we've got a running up scanner, which I've kind of configured to my needs, kind of more of a low float running up scanner. Things are just kind of like hitting boom, boom, boom. And then we've got this high of day momentum scanner, which has low and medium float stocks in it. And tailored to my need as well. And then we've got the quote section here, which gives me my float, along with this. You can get float in other areas as well, right in here. And then we've got the news kind of down in this section here. And I've got a little bit of room with this new setup on my screen, kind of in this section. And so I will probably fill that with something. I just don't know what. And this is my Discord. I don't know what's anything crazy going on there now, but that's just where it's going to be for now. So anyway, what was it? Where was I? Oh, yeah, ELAB. ELAB hits the scanner. ELAB. Cool. And where was it at? Right in here. Let me auto this. All right. This is the first one. And let me just take a look and see if I want. I think today I'm going to leave my screen like this instead of expanding out my chart. We'll see how it goes. So it hits the scanner right here. Let's see if I can get this right here. And I entered in at, what was it, 7:31. So I entered in on the next candle at like 475. Now, ELAB, this ELAB is one of those stocks, the tickers, where you kind of know you got to get in. You got to get in and you got to get out fast. It's had a history of going up and coming down, and so I knew when I saw it I needed to get out. But I did not. I actually took out, I got in at 475 just as this candle was starting to move over this line, 475. And then if you look right here, I actually took half of it off at 485. So I made 10-cent profit there. And then I did not, what I'm supposed to do on the next 50% that I'm trying to scale out is get out at break even. I did not do that. I let it kind of hang around. And I got out at 453, took a loss, and this is the stock I'm down on today. What I should have done there was get out at 75, and I didn't. I was kind of waiting. It was like churning. On this stock, there was spoof sellers on the ask, and that's with all the stocks I traded today. All the stocks that are low float, small cap, are getting these spoof sellers on there. We're just learning kind of how to manage that. Anyway, so that's what happened with the stock today. And then unfortunately when I got out, I'm like, I want to respect my stop. I don't want to stand too long. I got out, kind of down in this range, and then it shot up to $5.20, and that's fine. This is the thing about, when I eventually either have the $25,000 in my account, or I won't have to worry about that because the PD2 rule just changed to where, I would have loved to have been able to get back in here, but I wanted to save my buying power for something else that kind of popped up. And that's kind of the problem with the cash account. So I'm learning, I'm growing, and I really like the way this is going. Sure, I only made $13. Some days I've made $100 or $400 or $200, whatever. But I'm not losing a lot. I'm managing my risk, and I'm learning a lot to help prepare me for when I can re-enter with more buying power often, because that's what's going to happen. I'll be able to trade as much as I want. As long as I have over $200,000 in the account, I'll be able to trade as much as I want. Right now, I'm capped at my buying power, at my cash. So I'm thinking about that this entire time, right? I thought about that on this stock for sure. The next stock was, and ELAB had news today. None of these were, great news by any means. And let's go into, I want to get to that one last. Let's go to IPW. I had my eye on this one. This one I think I went in with just, I don't remember how much buying power. Let's take a look, actually. Why aren't you doing this? Oh, you have to click in it? Oh, I see. Let's skip. We're going to skip that one and go up to IPW. So, I went in with pretty decent buying power here. Went in at, what did we end up profiting here? $3. All right, let's pull it up. IPW right here. Oh, yeah, man. So on this stock, again, I was seeing with all the stocks today, I was seeing, I was seeing a lot of sellers on the bid, like spoof sellers. And I saw it here too. So as IPW is kind of creeping up right here, I'm pretty sure I got it right here. Let me take a look. 13. Yeah, I'm starting to kind of remember these spots I go in. As it's coming up, we've got this huge seller on the bid. On the ask. And I start to see that get lifted. This is the same thing happened yesterday, right? So it gets lifted, and I go in as it gets lifted, and it shoots up and just shoots right back down. So I didn't get out fast enough. So I got in at 122 right up here, and I scaled out at 123 and 120. So $9 gain on one. And 13 cents, but it did go all the way up to 129. I just didn't get out fast enough, and this kind of got me thinking about yesterday. Was like on these stocks where I see spoof sellers on the ask, I got to make sure to get out. I actually changed my binding on the very last trade. So on the very last trade, I changed it to where instead of going 50% out, scaling out 50-50, now I'm scaling out 75%. So when I get that first bump of profit, I want it to be 75% of my buying power, or 75% of the shares I'm in. This is just what I decided. And so then I have 25% that I'm letting linger that I'll take out at break even, or if it drops right away, I'll take out at break even or at a new stop that I've set and just call it a day. And eventually I'll be re-entering on some of these stocks, right? When I can do that. So that was that stock today. I really was hoping that IPW and ELAB would pan out for me. Let's get into EFOI, which was the last stock that I traded today. EFOI, which I think is making a good run right now. Let's take a look. Yeah. So this is what it did after the bell, which is kind of crazy. I mean, it went from, I don't know what this is, $5 basically up to, now it's up to $9. So I had the right idea on this stock. I really, really liked my thought process here. Where did I enter in? Let's take a look. 9/16/15. Yeah, so I didn't enter in. So here's what happened with this stock. So I didn't enter into the stock initially because there was a big seller on the ask that was holding it down this entire time, right? So it shoots up right here. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to enter here. And you guys all know by now, like this would normally be an enter spot. This would enter, whether it came down or up first, I don't know. But like once it crosses this line, I would enter. And I'm like, I don't think it's going to hold. Didn't hold. And so throughout this entire kind of zone in this range here, I'm seeing that seller put the order in, pull it out, put the order in. It gets kind of gobbled up a little bit, pull it out. It's just kind of back and forth, what we've been seeing. And I'm like, I'm on a time because of what happened with ELAB. With ELAB, either ELAB or ELAB or EPW, I forget which one it was. Like one of those was doing that pretty heavy, and I was like really trying to time that entry and just missed it. And so let me look and see what I went in here. I went in at, let's see, 9/16. So a little bit further down the road. Right here, yeah. So here's kind of what I saw. I saw as I'm watching, I have all this happening, but I'm also watching this big seller. And it's been happening. I'm like, I think this is going to pop once that big seller either gets squeezed out or pulls his order, is getting tired of doing it. Whenever the seller gets squeezed, which they end up getting squeezed, just not at this time. So right here I have this red candle as it's kind of turning, the MACD turns negative. So with just that in mind, probably wasn't the best time to go in. But then I see this this kind of hammer candle on the way down. Now I'm not saying that's not what caused me to enter. What caused me to enter was we were playing with this VWAP here, and as this thing kind of entered or started above the previous candle, I was thinking after this pullback, right? So this is the first candle to make a new high. The big ask, the order got chewed up. And so as it was getting chewed up, I got in. And I'm like, okay, we might get a pop here. The pop did not happen. Now, it happened later. So after I was done with this, you can see, and I got out for like a little profit. I mean, I probably should have stayed in. Like if I look at the bottom of this was only, the lowest $4. No, like I entered it for $26, $4.25 risk is too much for me. I mean, that's just how I'm playing the game right now. And that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, so yeah, this thing, it ends up doing what I wanted it to do. Is just a couple candles later is when it did it. Then you get this pullback and you get this nice squeeze up right here. And then after the bell rings, you get this really nice squeeze up here. So that the spoof seller on the ask, or the big sellers on the ask, they're not always spoofing. Sometimes they're just putting a big order out there. Big sellers on the ask eventually started getting squeezed, and I just mistimed the squeeze. And this is again where it'd be nice to have access to my capital again, because at this point I was done for the day. I couldn't make another trade. It was really unfortunate, but I'm trying to time these, and I'm seeing that happen. I'm just mistiming my entry, and you'd be able to just go back in with more buying power if I didn't have just a cash account. So again, I'm training myself to learn how to do this. I think I've done a good job training myself how to do this. Like I would just re-enter later, no big deal. It didn't work, get out, and just you take your $3 profit or whatever it was, and just $1 and go try again later. That's the nice thing. As long as you can cap your losses, then you can just keep going back in if you see, if I see different things. The one miss I had today was on Dare, which you don't even see on my list. We haven't even talked about it. So Dare actually showed up on the scanner today, and it has 13 million float. So it was a little bit higher float than I wanted. I do not believe that it had news. Yeah, see, there's no news here. So there's no news. The float's a little higher than I wanted. And I'm like, so I wasn't really that interested. But it kept kind of hitting the scanner throughout the morning. And I'm like, let me just take a little peek at what's going on with this thing. And so this is what I saw. And I actually tried to get in on this stock. So here's what I saw. I actually looked at the daily. It's like it's starting to kind of hit the scanners all the way up this zone, just new high of days, new high of day, new high of day. And I look back and I'm like, okay, so it's already over like the previous day's high or whatever it was. I forget exactly where it was. It was already over like 194. It was already over like these last few days of the highs, right? So I'm like, oh, what's the next level? So I go back and I take a look. I think that if this thing can get over, let's see, what did I say? Oh yeah, he had to go all the way back. It was above all of these days. So it was higher than what it was back in July of 2025. So I'm like, okay, what's the next level? So I'm just zooming in because it helps me visualize it right now. But I looked at this candle right here, and the high of this candle was 319. I'm like, okay. If this thing goes above 319, even though it doesn't fit my criteria, it has a chance to squeeze. So let's watch this, right? Like it doesn't typically fit what I'm trying to do, but I'm like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, if it hits over 319, it could go. And so right here, it goes right over 319. I was watching it right here. It goes over 319. I try to enter in somewhere in this zone, and I think I would have probably taken like a 10 or 20 cent profit and called it a day. I wasn't waiting for a pullback. I just would have taken that first rip and been out of there, and which would, in hindsight, would have been a mistake because it wouldn't hit my stop and it would have kept going up here. But it is what it is. That's just how I'm doing it right now. We wouldn't have had a huge win here. I would have made like, $30 or $40, maybe $50. I don't know. Anyway, it was just something that I was seeing. So it pops up. You get a little pullback. You get another little pullback. If you're playing that game, you can wait for this candle to make a new high. You enter in here around 340. It tops out at 390. You get out, and maybe you got stuck in this little, I don't know, whatever you call that. round trip. But I wouldn't have got stuck in there because I was just trying to get in and out with 10 cents or 20 cents or whatever. So the idea was there. So I hit the button to buy. And actually, I can tell you exactly when I hit the button. Right here. I hit it at 7:43.22. And you'll notice this is the wrong stock, MYSE. So it's 7:43.22. So right in this candle, like that I was just talking about, somewhere in here, I bought. It was halfway through this candle is when I bought. I bought right when it crossed over this line. Right when it passed 319, I punched it. And I'm like, I'm seeing the graph. I'm seeing this climb, but I'm not seeing my profits climb. And I'm like, what's going on? And I was like, oh no. I was actually in on this stock, MYSE. Hold on a sec, because I understand why I did that. One sec. Let me just click over here. MYSE, it's going to be up on the list somewhere. Let me just type it back in. All right. So I entered on this stock, and this will be just quick because nothing really happened here for me. And so right about here is where I was in this zone right here. And normally when I make this mistake, I just get right out. But it wasn't moving. It was just like there was no volume. It was just kind of hanging out. Now, this is a stock that I had my eye, obviously. So it was in my montage window because I was paying attention to it. And then I had the other chart. I was watching the other chart. And then once I saw it go above the amount, I just entered it. For some reason, I thought I was on the right sequence of charts and montage window. And this thing had gone up. Like, this is a continuation from yesterday. It's ripped up, came down. So like, when I accidentally entered in this zone, I'm like, well, sure, it's not really moving at all, so I'm just going to kind of hang out. I said, if it hits my stop, well, I think it was I think I was in at 335. I forget where I was in. Let's see, 335. I'm like, okay, if it hits 330, I'll get out. And it never hit 330. It just bottomed out down here at 330. It never went below 330. And then it, right here, just bumped up right here, bam, took a profit, got out. And for $30. It was an accidental $30 trade. So, I mean, great. But it's kind of nice to know that I've been around. I've been doing this long enough now to recognize, like, okay, we made the mistake. Normally I would just get out right away. But hold on. I'm looking at that level 2, and nothing's really moving and shaking. Like, I'm not really, there's nothing scaring me off here. Sure, there was multiple times where I could have just broke even or made like $5 and been like, okay, well, that was a mistake. Let's just break even. But I'm like, let's just respect a tight stop. Let's go 5-cent stop and end up getting a little bit right there. So since then, I have made a change, and I will do another video on how to make this change. I thought I had made the change already, but right now, like, I'll switch over to the scanner. So if I was to click on the scanner right now, so hold on. The stock I have selected right now is MYSE here and MYSE here. These are two different applications. This one is Dash Trader. This one is Charts Watchers. And then my scanner is also Charts Watchers. So I just have a few different tabs of Chart Watchers open. And now if I click on a stock, so I'm just going to click on FGI, and I click it. And we're going to go over to my main screen. It automatically changed these for me. So it was already doing the chart. So change it on the chart right here, and it also puts it right here. So I'll leave this screen up for a sec. I'll come over here and click another stock. I'll click UCAR. There it is, UCAR. Now you have options here. You can leave this window highlighted, which is what I chose, because then I can still mouse over, and just without clicking on the chart, I can kind of look and see like what might be going on. And then, excuse me, my montage window is already highlighted, and I can just hit my macro to get in. There is an option where you can click your stock, and it, instead of highlighting the window, it automatically goes back to where you previously were, your previously active window. So that way your montage isn't active if you don't want it active. But I think this is gonna have, so now I won't have this issue. If I click, my chart will always line up with my Dash Trader. So if I click on what's UCAR is starting to climb, it's kind of cool, but I'll pick a different stock, CRCB. There, see? So it's just gonna line up. And then because of this, I had to make the change on my screens because because what it does is if I click on, if you watch my mouse on, because I move things around, right here on somewhere up here, you'll see my mouse will just disappear. It's gone. it automatically goes over to that active window right here. I get why it's doing that, right? It's moving the mouse over so I can copy and paste, whatever. And so I needed my chart to be really close, or my scanner to be really close to my montage window, where before it was on the left. So I'd have to come over to the left-hand side, over this way on the screen, way over here on this other screen. You guys, I don't know why I need to show you guys what the way left is. But anyway, on that monitor, and it wasn't a big deal. I would just leave my mouse there and click and come through. No big deal. But since it's automatically dragging my mouse over to the montage window, no matter what, I am just going to, I just moved things around so my scanner was right next to the Dash Trader window. You just can't see it because it's on the other monitor. So that way it's much easier for me to where, because I used to just click and then now my mouse moved. It moved over here, but I used to just come over here and click like this. I would just go over, not a stock right here, and then click the next one. And then I would just come over and click the next one. Now I have to bring the mouse over every time I want to do that. I'm not sure if I'm going to like this, but I think I will, because it's not that big of a deal. Click a stock, my mouse will automatically come into place right here. And then if I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't really know. I can just quickly go over here and click another stock. Okay, what's going on over here? Click another stock. It's just a little extra movement for like checking stocks. But I think I'm going to like it versus having to manually type it into my Dash Trader window. Anyway, that's a lot of information for this account. Let me get to there was some other stocks too. ICG, UCAR, those both had big sellers on the ask, and I just was not comfortable making those trades this morning. I was trying, it just didn't work out. And I didn't make entries on those. But here is the data we are at now, and I had to move the screen over this way, so now I have to look away from you guys when I do this. So that's a learning lesson for me. 64 trade days, 63% win rate. It's kind of hovering around that zone actually, and we're up $1,446. It's a couple $100 away from the drawdown. I'm going to be aggressive next week. I'm going to be very, very aggressive next week. I tried to be aggressive today. The stocks just didn't pop in my favor, and that's okay. That's okay. I learned a lot today. It's like I could also wait to see if some of those shorts get squeezed out a little bit, and before I try to time when those sellers, big sellers on the ask, when they're starting to get gobbled up, maybe just wait till they get gobbled up like 5-6 times or something, and then have that be confirmation that shorts are continuously getting squeezed up a move versus when I see that doing it, going in kind of initially. So we'll see how that plays out. I liked my entries today for the most part, except for my accidental one. I just didn't get the price action that I wanted, and I got out without too much of a loss, and we're up $14. So hey, green is green. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will see you next week.